Hi, and thanks for watching. In this video, I wanted to cover spear training for internal martial arts. I was originally asked a question about using spear training for Bagua, but I wanted to make this more broadly applicable. So in the video, I wanted to talk about weapons training for internal styles. We'll look at also two specific training drills using the spear and how they relate to our core training. So the first thing to cover is this idea of what is the purpose of weapons practice. Each weapon has its own characteristic, from a sword or a sabre, a staff, spear, etc. Each weapon, due to the nature of how it's built and its characteristics and qualities, has its own style or spirit or intent. And so, in other words, the way to use the weapon that is using its strengths, right, that plays to its strengths and its characteristics. And so when we learn a weapon, we need to build this understanding of how the weapon works. And then we need to marry that or combine that with our understanding of the style that we're doing. So for example, if we look at the spear is a long weapon, right? So obviously, one of the key characteristics of it is that it has this reach. It requires this extension. But also, the nature of the spear is that it goes out and it comes back. But this is not a linear motion. It's something where it has this extra reach, but the reach is one that happens and it coils. Right? So there's an agile nature to the spear that is characteristic and key to understanding the weapon. And so if we were to take this and bring it into a style, say it's Tai Chi or Bagua or Xingyi, the tendency is as soon as we have the weapon in our hand, we forget all about the style that we've been doing and practicing. And so one of the most important things is as soon as we have a weapon and we're working with the weapon is to not forget the key principles of the style that we're doing. If it's Chen style Tai Chi, we need to maintain all the key principles and all the core principles of Chen style Tai Chi. But then we need to understand the additional requirements that the weapon brings to us, and then understand how to make those part of the training. For example, with Chen style Tai Chi, we were saying the quality of the spear is that it has this coiling and this extension. The coiling and extension is something that's not absent from the core routines, from the core training of Chen style Tai Chi, is that this training helps us develop those characteristics, helps us develop those qualities, and fully understand them and integrate them back. So the purpose of training with different weapons is that it places extra requirements onto us to truly understand the characteristic of that weapon, whether it's the reach, whether it's the speed, whether it's the power, and then find how that can be brought back into the style that we're training. So if we're looking at the spear and how that there's this quality of extension, but also this coiling dynamic quality, then there's a couple of training techniques specific to the spear that are helpful to help us build those, that build our skill and quality. Our skills with the spear. The two of them are, first of all, the pole shaking, and the second one is the classic spear drill, lan jia yi, or block, press, and spear. So we'll look at those and go through the requirements of each of them. First, I'll start with the nature of the spear itself. One of the key characteristics is the quality of the wood. The shaft of the spear is made out of waxwood. It is essentially a single tree that's been cut at the bottom and the side branches taken away, and otherwise it is an integral tree. Right. This is an important thing to understand, and not only any tree, but a waxwood tree, which means that it has a certain springy quality because of those two things, the fact that it is a single unit and the fact that it is this particular kind of wood. If you train with something that looks like a spear but doesn't have those qualities, then you won't be able to find these these characteristics. You won't be able to train these training drills properly. So finding a proper spear made of waxwood, proper size, meaning that from your overstretched hand, that the tip should be somewhere around the tip of the middle finger. These are the characteristics that help define a proper spear. The two drills that we'll look at, first one, pole shaking. I should mention I have these microphones that are just overhead. When I do the demonstration, if I do it directly under the microphones, it will overload the microphones. So I'll explain each drill, and then I will step back away from the microphones to do the demonstration. For the pole shaking, if we take our right hand and place it at the base of our spear, and have the other arm shoulder width apart, and then with the arms straight, bring the arms up to shoulder height. Then the shaking happens by using the torso and having the tip of the spear move horizontally forward and backward. There are two versions to this drill. The first one is this one with a horizontal shaking, and so for this one here, the second version of it is the same idea, but we have our arms raised overhead. And this time the shaking of the body is to drive the tip of the spear up and down. So not horizontally forward and back, but up and down. For both of these, of course, this motion is happening, and you can understand why the springy nature of the shaft, the nature of the waxwood is so important to be able to get the proper feedback and proper motion within the spear. This force is generated not by the arms, and that's why the arms are held straight, but by a movement through the torso, and generating that movement through the core of the body, and then extending it, having the extension of that go through the arms, and then have that extension then translate to the movement of the tip. So this is the point of the exercise, the skill that we're trying to drill. The second drill, again, fundamental for any spear practice, lanzai, or the block, press, and thrust. There is this circular motion that happens with the spear going counterclockwise, clockwise, thrusting out, and coming back. So the motion itself of course, we get that extension, and we have the retreat. But with the coiling, the counterclockwise with the block, the clockwise circling with the press, these coiling motions, they happen because it's important to keep in mind the shaft of the spear is in contact with the body, and the body is rotating. There's a rotational motion through the body, which drives and translates into the coiling motion of the tip of the spear. So being able to train this is not something where the spear is away from the body and we're using our arms and wrists to try and circle the tip. It is something where we're using this rotational motion through the core of the body and using that to translate into the block and into the press. I was mentioning the four phases: the block, counterclockwise circle, the thrust, the return, the block, counterclockwise, the clockwise press, then the thrust, and then the return. 1, 2, 3, 4. When we're doing the drill, often it's important to do them each step, each phase, and have them clear and well defined and separated. But then as we get used to the motion, then it's something where as we're drawing back, we're starting already to go into the block. As we do the press, we're already extending out into the spear. So these two training drills, basic fundamental training drills. First one to be able to generate that power through the shaking of the body and an extension of that through the arms out to the tip. This is the first one. The second one is to use a rotational motion through the body and to have that translate into a coiling motion through the tip and shaft of the spear. And of course, still again, having that extension out to the tip and then a quick withdrawal of the weapon back. So there and back again. So those are the two training drills and the characteristics that they help train and draw out. I hope this information is helpful for you. Keep training, keep practicing, and take care.